Welcome to our session on our first in our video series about problems. And the problem we're going to talk about, this is our first in our series on problems, opportunities, and solutions. So here we go. My name is Michael Brown. I'm an engineering instructor at West Campus High School, and I will be following a slideshow that I have over here from preparation, and you can also see back here. It's basically based off the same thing. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give my students a general idea of how to go about developing, understanding a problem, researching a problem, developing solutions, how they're going to take and look at that solution, present that solution to others, then how they're going to develop a task force that will look at that problem, develop solutions, more in-depth solution, and how they can implement that solution, and also how they can take a look at and try to understand how the implementation helps people. So what we're going to do is start with a discussion of basically we're talking about coronavirus is happening right now. So we're at home and here in Sacramento, California. And so what we want to do is we want to look at local restaurants, how they are, the problems they're having with loss of customers, locations closing, all the different aspects that are happening there because people can't go out. And then what we're going to look at is, okay, how could they address that issue, start a task force, develop something that could help them either now or in the near future, whenever hopefully the crisis is over, and how people are going to respond during that, and develop something that can encourage people either to go back to their old habits where they're eating out a lot or develop new habits. So we're going to cover all these different things. So how do we rebound? How do restaurants rebound from this crisis? So one of the problems is loss of customers. So many restaurants are losing customers because they can't be open. Even if they're open, people don't want to go to those. Some people don't want to have deliveries. And so there's a lot of fear, a lot of different aspects there. Sometimes they don't even have the staff to open up to even make the food. So there's problems there. So they also, even if you do all that, there's still the fear of customers that the food may be tainted, have the virus, or the cooks or somebody had it. So there's a lot of fear involved. So basically, we lose our customers. Staff is at home, and habits are going to change because people are at home. They're changing their habits. Will they go back to their old habits? Okay, and we don't know when this will end, so we got to prepare for a little longer time. So we'll look at the timeline. Will it be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? Do we have time to develop a task force to address it? What will it take? Things like that. Okay, so will the staff come back? So our biggest problem is staff. Even if customers are willing to come back, will we lose some staff members? Are they going to go someplace else? Or have they moved out of the area? Or do they want to change jobs? Have they developed new types of things going on? Have they started school? All these different aspects will take a deal. They have to deal with their staff. Also, when they do come back, there's going to be changes, restrictions. There's still going to be a lot of fear. It's like, even though we may open up or restaurants may open up, there may not necessarily be trust at that point. So there's still fear. Do some of the staff have these? So there's going to be a lot of restrictions, a lot of changes whenever they do come back. So restaurants are going to have expectations, and the customers are going to have expectations, and the staff are going to have expectations. So everybody's got to look at all these different things that are happening and say, okay, what can we do to deal with this problem? So we got loss of customers, loss of staff, and habits are going to change. So we want to take in, so will customers resume their old habits of eating out? It's once we develop new habits, it's harder to go back to the old habits. A lot of people are, we haven't eaten out in 2 weeks, and it may be 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before we do eat out. And at that time, are we used to our habits of staying home and cooking our own meals? And so will we want to go back to the old habits of eating out so many times a week? Some people are doing delivery and pickup, and so now we've developed that habit to have our food delivered. Some people go pick up their food. Less people are picking up now, mostly the delivery, and then many restaurants are not doing delivery, so there's some limitations there, and so their habits are changing. So they have these certain habits they're developing, and will they go back to the old ones? So it's really hard to take and change your habits once you develop them. Yes, there will be that excitement of things opening up, they'll go back, but then again, at the same time, long term, you got to plan, say, okay, they'll initially come back, we'll be busy at first, and then they're gonna take and say they got used to these other habits, so maybe they're gonna go back to the old habit of taking and cooking their food at home after their first experience of eating out once or twice. So will customers expect changes in the dining experience? How is that going to change? Is there distance? Are we going to have to do dining rooms that are more distant, that the tables are distant from each other? Are they going to eat in different locations? Are we going to just only open maybe a pickup and a delivery service? We don't particularly know at this point. There's going to be a lot of factors, but the customers are going to have expectations. Restaurants are going to have expectations. Staff are going to have expectations. So we want to look at these expectations, and we got to look at how they're changing, how they're developing because of the virus. How maybe moving forward, people may have certain expectations, so that the restaurants may have to be a lot more clean more often. They maybe have to sterilize more often throughout the day, so that customers have a confidence there. So what they expect is very important. What they want, they're going to take and say their expectations, their wants, their needs, certain things. If they go into the restaurant and they don't see that cleanliness that they're expecting, then they're going to go other places, and then they're going to maybe go immediately back to their habit where they developed recently, which is cook their own food. So we want to look at these things. So customers are going to have changes, staff going to have changes, habits are changing. We look at it and say, how can we address that situation as a task force? So you as a task force, you have this problem, you have it developed, you understand it, you sort of clarify it in a couple paragraphs, maybe you make a little web page about it, so you reach out to people. Who do you reach out to, and how do you reach out to them? So in this case, we developed this task force. We know that this problem is going to be out there, so we take and say, who do we need to be a part of our task force to help us overcome the problems? Who do we need to? Well, we've got a preliminary, maybe we have even a solution we've outlined. We need to, of course, we're going to need restaurant owners, we're going to need some staff, and we're going to need customers. And then we would also probably want people from the community that are going to be involved, like government officials, people from the mayor's office, different councilmen, because they want to make sure that we bounce back. We may also have health officials and different people like that who will be able to give us advice on expectations of restaurants. Okay, so what we want is to develop a solution that encourages to come back. So our solution, we're going to look at a geolocation app website here in a minute. So it's got to encourage customers to come back. Okay, it's also got to encourage maybe customers change their habits because they've developed these new habits. Now they need to get back to the old habits or change their habits. So many customers didn't really have the habit of eating out all the time. So maybe that's one habit we want to develop, is that they eat out more often. So we could look at some way, some solution to encourage that. develop a solution that is innovative, that allows restaurants to be innovative and thrive in the future. Now, we know that sometimes it's really hard to change, but at the same time, this is a great opportunity to change. We might embrace a new an app or a website or a process that is coming available, and we may say, okay, this is a great time to change how we do things. Maybe the restaurant wasn't as successful, maybe it wasn't very successful and you want to expand on it. Whatever it is, this is a great time to change that. Maybe develop new recipes, develop new menus, develop new delivery services, all the different things that you want to do. So the solution needs to actually allow restaurants to return and change the people's habits and thrive, but it also allows something that will give opportunities for innovative people to develop new things, to have their restaurants be successful in new ways. So we also want to think about all the different things like that. Okay. So the old habits, the customers have old habits. Will they immediately return to eating like before? We look at this. Did we want to maybe do a little research on it? Will it change? Where will they go? Maybe they're going to want to go closer to home. Why they're going to go? Will they have new expectations? And will they expect everything to be normal? Of course not. So things are going to be changing. Okay, so how are they going to change? Where and when are they going to eat out? These are expectation things that we'd look at, and our task force would look at it and say, what is our expectations? What are things going to happen? So we're going to develop a solution. So we want to be able to influence them to, maybe we want them to eat out more often. In the old process, the old ways, their old habits was to eat out once a week. Now we want to take and get them to eat out more often, maybe twice a week, 3 weeks. How could we develop a solution that would do that in addition to returning to old habits? Maybe we want them to eat at different restaurants, want to expand their dining experience. Maybe we want them to, this solution could give them opportunities to see different eating habits, different food, different ways things are prepared, and the dining experience. So what is that? So sometimes we have these old habits. We know the old dining experience, and are we going to expect something new, innovative, cool, different? So all these different things. So, and how could the community be as part? It's really important for the community to be involved with this, because if we're not successful on this and the restaurants don't successfully get people back into their old habits or new habits where they start eating out, we're going to have all these restaurants that are going to be failing, and there's going to be people they may change over time. So in other words, initially it'll take time and restaurants won't have enough business to keep open, and then pretty soon there'll be less restaurants. Also, that's income to the community. We want a good dining experience, so we want to definitely think about that. So community definitely can make a difference on this. They can provide financing, they can provide opportunities, they can provide involvement, experiences like events that would encourage people to go out to different restaurants. There's a lot of different ways they could do that. And so if you get a lot of people involved in your task force, you could look at it and they could give you different ideas. Okay, so what we want to do is maybe opportunities for the future. So we want to also look at that. And we're going to say, okay, I'm going to show you my idea for the look and feel of geolocation app. I'll look at that in a minute. But what we want is to look at the future habits. What's going to happen in the future? This is like a year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. We also want to look at that and say, how could this solution be productive in the long run? Because we don't really just want to spend a lot of work and then it's over in 6-8 weeks, and the app or website is not worth anything. It has no value to people at that point. So we want to say, okay, what can we do in the future? How can we make new experiences, new eating experiences? Can restaurants develop new income streams? How can this be a a portal that maybe that changes how customers look for food. Instead of the old ways, their old techniques of looking, maybe this is new opportunities, new ways for them to look. Okay, so how could restaurants and food providers develop new opportunities, new revenue streams, change the reality of the dining experience? We have done the dining experience in one way for a long time. Maybe this is a great opportunity to change how that dining experience comes along. So we want to definitely bring in community mentors, community leadership into the task force. So what will the website look and feel like? So, okay, so before I'm going to look at that website, I'm going to give you we're going to talk about the task force, because before we develop the solution, we have to recruit people. So what we want is, how are we going to go out and recruit people to our task force? Now we have a good idea of what we're doing. We have a possible solution, and we know what we could do so that they understand why it's important to do what we're doing. So we have to reach out. And so one of the ways we could reach out is, of course, in our classroom experience, we may reach out through Google Classroom, or chatting or texting, or just talking to people on a phone call. But also this experience, we would probably want to maybe develop a video we could reach out and send to community members, restaurant owners, and try to get them involved. We could take and start emailing people that are important in the restaurant industry. We might email people who are leadership in the community, mayors, councilmen, people like that. So we can reach out lots of different ways. Maybe we'd make a slideshow that they could see and go through, that would sort of give them a better understanding of what you're trying to do and the importance of that task force. So, and then you got to work together. You got to work as a team. It's not okay, you're a leader and you're giving instructions. No, that's not what's going to happen. It's we as a team get together and we communicate, and we communicate online, chatting, different aspects like that. We take in, remember, we're always all leaders, so everyone in that task force takes on that leadership role of making sure everybody's involved in the task force and everybody is contributing to the overall goal of the task force. You have this goal. We want to address the issues that people are going to be changing their habits. We want to see if we can provide opportunities for more people to go out and eat. So we're increasing that. And opportunities for innovation, restaurants to change. So we don't want restaurants to all go out of business whenever we are going back. We want to make sure that they thrive, that they grow, that our environment becomes better, that the community is more variety for people, so that they can experience different aspects of the community, different foods, different dining experiences. So we always have to listen to each other, make sure that we're listening to each other. And then you got tools. What tools are you going to use? Well, we have access to Basecamp. We can use that for chatting and documents, and we could use it for a timeline, so we can give reminders. We have different things that we could use there. Slideshows, it works with Google. We could put on different things. We can chat, we can text each other. All the different tools we do, we can put videos on there that people could use. So all the task force would start using and contributing to the Basecamp. Now we could also use different videos, YouTube videos. We could do some live presentations for people of what we're trying to do. We could reach out to programmers. We could tell them what we're trying to do, because a lot of people are home right now, but at the same time they realize the importance of this, and so maybe they would like to be a part of this task force. So you, as a student, as a community member, you'd say, okay, this is too big, this is way beyond me, but it's not. It's not, if you do a good plan, all you need to do is spend 4 or 5 hours putting together your plan, thinking about it, how is it going to impact, and the importance. The importance is, if you cannot understand the importance or relay the importance to other people, then it's going to be a struggle for you. It's not going to happen. But if you can very quickly relay the importance to people of how people are going to be impacted, how our community is going to be impacted, how the restaurant business is going to be impacted, how people at home are going to be impacted. So overall, financial wise, how that is going to be impacted. If nobody starts going out, then we've got a lot of changes there too. So we got to look at the future. We got to look at that and we say, this is what our solution does for everybody. And so everybody has a role in being part of the solution, being part of the task force, so that it achieves what it needs to achieve. One of the things you might want to think of is how we're going to get information back about the success of it. So you might want to do some surveys or other forms that will collect information from your viewers or from the people who are using the app when it does go live, or whenever you go a preliminary or prototype, and you want to see how it works, so you are get chefs and restaurateurs and customers involved and see what's the impact of the app or website. So a so habits change. That's what we really want to do. So look and feel. I'm just going to do this real basic to finish up here today. Just a reminder, you need to structure your resources. Think about skills of the people that are going to be involved, and definitely have a timeline. So how the website will look. Okay, so it needs to have tools that restaurants can use to reach out to customers. It needs to have tools that users or customers can use to see or understand what's happening out there, or to get excited about the opportunity to go back out and eat. So those are very, very important. So the experience, the online experience, we definitely need to worry about that. We need to worry about the restaurants being involved, how they can plan, change, transform. So whenever they're ready, and share that experience with customers or potentially new customers. And maybe they do things like maybe develop new dishes, do videos, do different things, menus, new locations. Maybe restaurants realizing that they need to change their location. Maybe they need to develop new locations, because it is in a way an opportunity. It's a problem at first, but many people will realize it's an opportunity in the future, because now if we use something like this, people are going to embrace these new things. And if they develop locations that meet the expectations of the new expectations of the world after this, then maybe they'll be highly successful that way. And also new ways to experience their food. So how are restaurants going to change their dining experience given customers' expectations? Okay, so what options we also want to think that it's not about always just going back to the old ways, but providing opportunities to do better, to be more successful, to have more exciting restaurants and dining opportunities. So we really want to look at that. Okay, and how will the community involved? Okay, we want to design our app so that the community can be involved. So how could we do it? So one of the ways we could do it is customers are in a location. So let's look at a location app. So it is a location app and the greater Sacramento area. And then they're going to look at this and say, okay, here are the restaurants surrounding them. So they're going to take a look at that and they're going to say, oh, I can click on a restaurant and I can see what they are doing now. And I can see what their expectations and when they're going to be opening and all the different things that a restaurant might want to share. But in addition to that, restaurants might have tools. So this restaurant, you click on it, and it has additional tools and options for customers. And it may have some online resources. Instead of just the menu, instead of just them seeing food or just seeing pictures of things, maybe there's a whole online experience that these restaurant owners, chefs can develop that would make the experience exciting. So people get excited about going back to their restaurants, or even if it's a new restaurant. So there's online tools that are really important for the restaurants to have. So we got video, but instead of that, we also chat. Okay, I know it takes time, but at the same time, we have a lot of time now. Maybe they want to chat with new restaurants. So of course, we always have the pictures that we could, and we have the menus. But what else could we develop? What innovation could we develop and give to these people as restaurant owners that will be different, encourage people to go eat? So that's one of the things we want to do. Look and feel. How's it going to look? This is just like a geolocation, and they can go. And maybe there might even be here or showing on there that you can, of course, you can do likes. But you could also have maybe some innovation tools, some tools here, some imagery that when they go over it, it could show expected day of opening. It could show new things, so things that they're doing. And so as customers go over it, it would pop up a little image that could have different aspects that restaurant owners could use to encourage people. Because whatever, if they go over it, then they have to click on it and they have to go to a website, which is our typical process. Then we're taking them out. And what we want to do in this one is we want to get more people to go out to eat and try the experiences around them. Try to understand how these experiences are changing, transforming, how they're meeting expectations of customers. And if we do that, we have this pop-up here that just sort of flashes there for a few seconds, and then they can click on it, or as they hold it, it stays, but maybe it runs. So it goes down and it has different things that they put in. Maybe in here it has chat with the chef, so that they actually could chat with the chef and find out what's going on, what the chef is doing, chat with the owners, different things. Maybe all this around here could be part of this environment. So that's the look and the feel of what we did. Now that's real basic. I'm not going to go in depth on how all these different things would look at, because I'm just not going to spend all the time. That's what a task force would do. It would say, okay, you have this preliminary idea, so let's take it and let's run with it and let's develop it so the community is going to get a better experience. Customers are going to get a better experience. Because the community is very important. Just customers alone, but the community, how it takes and attracts people to an area is really important. So the community wants to be involved, and then the restaurant owners and chefs want to be involved because they want to encourage people to come back and eat more, because they want to take it. They want people to experience their food in new ways. They want to experience their food ongoing transformation. There's a lot of different things that we could do here. And so that's the look and feel of what we got. And so, going to wrap up real quick. Problem, solution, opportunities. Okay, we're in the problem. We have a possibility of a solution. We have a opportunities. Well, we're going to change the habits and develop new old habits, make them return to the old habits or what future habits, and then make our task force and why it's important to people, why it's important to you, why it's important to everyone, and then the future of this. Okay, will this develop into something more? Will this slowly transform into an app that will help other locations, other cities, other states, events? So there's a lot of different aspects you could do with this and try and say, okay, we are doing this for the immediate benefit, but at the same time, we're doing it for a future benefit for everybody. So hopefully this gave you an idea of the process you would want to go through. I know I spent quite a bit of time on different aspects here, but you want to take and look at a problem, develop some possible solutions, recruit a task force, and then go out, try it, create the materials, create whatever you need to create to get it, to implement it, and then review your implementation, check, make sure it's working effectively, surveys, different ways you could do that, and then evaluate and change and think about the future, how it's going to change over the future. Okay. Best of all, this is going to help me learn about new restaurants, learn about experiences I didn't get to see in ways that I didn't get to see before. And that's important. In the past, I've seen pictures, and most everything is picture-based, but it's not an experience-based. And so I've been to many different restaurants, I've been to the websites, but the experience is missing out of that. So how would that experience be part of this app, and how would it be innovative so that the app would do more for everybody, community, owners, restaurants, everybody involved, and most importantly, the customers, so that we would have some cool opportunities to eat at new places. Okay, thank you.